Yo guys, what's going on? It's Rose here, bringing you guys the team builder for our week 1 game against Razor in the WPF. Him and his Galaxy Brain Gallipods are taking us on this week, and I am very nervous for this matchup. Razor is a phenomenal battler, and I've played him a couple times. I've either gone 1-1 against him, or I haven't won against him yet. In that case, we are looking to pick up a dub this week. We are looking to pick up a win in WPF, and my first win in a draft league for a minute, because I haven't won since the end of BBR, so it's been a little bit of a, minute. But yeah, I'm super excited to play Razor this week. He's a great battler, and he always brings some very interesting sets. But regardless, you can never take this guy too lightly. He is very, very strong as a battler. And yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get right into this team builder, guys. If you guys missed our draft analysis, our team is Terra Iron Boulder, Cinderace, Zarude, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Latias, Diancie, Fortress, Paldean Aquatoros, Terra Driftblim, Swalot, and Pincurchin. Whereas Razor has Terrapagos, Crocodile, Pheasantipity, Feraligatr, Entei, Terra Electivire, Azelf, Terra Lucario, Dragonite, Skarmory, and Sceptile. Now, definitely a very interesting matchup this week. He's got a lot of really big threats that we have to worry about this week. Terrapagos, it can be a big problem depending on the set that he brings. If he wants to bring like a Rock Polish Calm Mind set with like Starstorm and Earth Power, that can become a huge issue very early on. Crocodile can become an issue depending on the set that he brings, because ground coverage plus dark coverage covers most of my team for at least neutral, if not super effective. The only thing that walls both of those would be Zarude, and he can definitely bring Gunk Shot or something to counteract that. Pheasantipity, depending on the set he brings, I don't really think it's going to do too much. I think he does bring it, but I just don't see it doing too much. Feraligatr, a Dragon Dance set puts a lot of pressure on me, or he could even bring a Swords Dance set with like Aqua Jet and put in even more work as well. The Entei can become an issue depending on the set that he brings. Realistically though, I don't really see Entei coming, because I feel like the Tauros is a very, very good switch into it. Electivire, depending on the set he brings, he could bring like a Scarf set or a Choice Band set, or some sort of bulk up variant, and he could put in some pressure. Azelf, I think it's a very good lead option against me. I think like some sort of Rocks knockoff U-turn Mystical Power variant could definitely put in some work against me this week. Lucario, I am terrified of Swords Dance E-Speed. That is, I am terrified of Swords Dance Terra Normal E-Speed. It does a lot of work against me this week. I mentioned that in my front office and made that a point to basically try and deal with it this week. Dragonite, depending on the set, could become a problem. If he brings it, it could be special, which could definitely put in a lot of work against me. Like Draco plus Hurricane plus like Thunderbolt could put in a lot of pressure. Or Flamethrower if he wants to do that. Skarmory, I think he has to bring it, because otherwise Iron Boulder kind of tears him a new one with like Booster Speed Sword Stance. Outside of that, he doesn't have a good switch into it, so he definitely needs to bring that, I feel like. And then Sceptile, if it was a Terra Captain, I feel like it could come. But since it's not a Terra Captain, I don't think it shows up. I just don't think he has the ability to set up super easy against my team. And I think Fortress is a great wall against it, so I don't think he's going to be able to break through that very easily. But let's go ahead, let's go into our team right now. First up, we are bringing Chipotle, our Iron Boulder, this week. Iron Boulder puts in a ton of pressure in his team, like we talked about. And I think with the Swords Dance, like I said, we can put in a ton of work this week. We are running 32 HP, 252 attack, 224 speed with a Jolly Nature, with Mighty Cleave, Close Combat, Earthquake, and Sword Stance, and the Booster Energy. We are speed boosting this week, like I said. This thing can absolutely put in a ton of work. Our speed does allow us to outspeed the Sceptile at base, although like I said, I really don't expect it to show up. We are Terra Water this week, mainly just because I don't want to have to worry about like Skarmory doing too much damage to me with like Iron Heads or anything. This also gives me a good kind of check to the Feraligatr a little bit if he doesn't bring like Trailblaze or something. But yeah, like I said, Boulder could put in a ton of work depending on the team that he brings. And honestly, a +2 Mighty Cleave, there's really not a whole lot that wants to switch into this thing. Next up, we are bringing IHOP, our Cinderace, this week with U-Turn, Pyro Ball, High Jump Kick, and Court Change. We are rocking 32, the exact same spread as the Iron Boulder, 32 HP, 252 attack, 224 speed Jolly. With this, we are outspeeding everything Azelf and below, barring Scarfers or +1s, and running the boots this week just because he does have a decent bit of hazards, and I don't want to have to worry about, like, if he wants to set up like some Stealth Rocks and Spikes with Skarmory, I don't want to worry about that too much. Court change is really there because this is my removal this week, so we're going to be able to bring in this and hopefully my plan is to lead off with this thing, depending on what he brings. This, I think, is my strongest lead against his team. I think Cinderace is a very easy lead for me this week, and honestly, Pyro puts in a lot of pressure against him. Next up, we are bringing Burger King our Zarude. Now, Zarude this week is really only here to facilitate my offense. He is really only here to click, U-turn, and knock off. And depending on if he is a setup for Alligator or not, this could also help me kind of revenge that a little bit with like a nice Power Whip to actually knock it out pretty easily. We are rocking 40 HP, 252 attack, 216 with a Jolly Nature. Like I said, we are Choice Scarfed. We got U-turn, Power Whip, Knockoff, and Stomping Tantrum this week. If he does not bring Feraligatr, this becomes a bit more expendable, depending on the 6 that he brings. But I do think if he, like I said, if he brings Feraligatr, this is going to become very handy for us. Next up, we are bringing McDonald's our Ursaluna Blood Moon. Blood Moon puts on a ton of pressure into this team. We're rocking the leftovers this week: Blood Moon, Earth Power, Hyper Voice, and Vacuum Wave. We are running 248 HP, 252 Special Attack Modest, the little 8 in Special Defense. And like I said, this thing puts on a ton of pressure into Razor's team. Blood Moon and Earth Power basically covers his entire team for super effective or neutral damage, and it 2-hit KOs basically everything without needing to set up. What's interesting, even with the multi-scale, and a Hyper Voice into a Blood Moon, Dragonite gets 2-hit KO'd immediately, and it's beautiful. But yeah, normal stab is very, very good into this, and then whatever doesn't get hit by Blood Moon gets hit by Earth Power very easily. We are underspeeding the Skarmory, so that way if he wants to try and roost up against me, we can Earth Power that thing into the next Stratosphere. Blood Moon does about 60-70%, depending on his spread, if he's physically defensive or not, and then Earth Power will just knock him out afterwards. But yeah, no, like I said, this thing puts in a ton of work this week. Next up, we are bringing Johnny Rockets our Latios this week. Latios is actually kind of important this week because we're bringing the Chilanberry, because this is my way to basically revenge a Terranol E-Speed Lucario. With Mist Ball, Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, and Recover, we're basically hitting his entire team for super effective or neutral damage. We are running 80 HP, 252 Special Attack, 176 Speed with a Timid Nature this week. We are outspeeding all the base 100s and below, so namely Entei and then Electivire at 95, everything below that as well. Yeah, with this, we're absolutely hitting his team for a ton of damage. If he is a special Lucario, Mist Ball is super nice, because then if he wants to bring Nasty Plot, then we can lower that special attack very, very easily. But yeah, no, this thing is mainly here for Terranormal E-Speed Lucario. I think is very likely to come. Definitely something we have to watch out for, and I think if we can position Latios correctly, this thing can actually just clean him up a little bit. And last but certainly not least, we have Outback our Tauros. With the leftovers this week, we have Raging Bull, Close Combat, Trailblaze, and Bulk Up, with 40 HP, 252 attack, 216 Jolly. And like I said, this is not the least valuable member of this team. Honestly, this is one of the more important ones, because if I can get a Bulk Up or 2 and a Trailblaze up, Tauros can actually put in a ton of work this week. I went through a couple of different sets. I considered an Assault Vest variant to take up some hits on a little bit better on that end. I originally had Wave Crash over Raging Bull, but after discussing with my front office, we kind of figured that the recoil from Wave Crash was kind of unnecessary, especially if I want this thing to clean up. And honestly, Dual Stab, even though it doesn't hit the Dragonite very well, once I get a Bulk Up or 2, and if I can get break that thing's multi-scale with either a Trailblaze proc or something else, or if I can court change some rocks over on his end and he's not wearing boots, absolutely, Tauros can put in a ton of work this week and potentially reverse sweep this team. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for our team builder this week. I'm doing something a little bit different. I am doing a separate team builder video this week as opposed to a team builder ahead of the matchup. So let me know what you guys think of that. If you want this kind of thing moving forward, or if you want me to just go through another kind of 5-10 minute team builder ahead of the video. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and see you guys in the next video in the game. Peace out.